Or I'm making another video because I got another turbo on our hands right now. Another Maxpeedingrods brand new dual ball bearing turbocharger. And this one's very similar to the last one we reviewed, the GT660. This one is a G25-660. Now, I'm not sure where they're getting these code names from, but let's unbox this one real quick and show you guys what's included in this specific package. Again, the cardboard boxing on how they come shipped is much better than before. I remember when they were first shipping me turbos, it was like a single cardboard lined box, and sometimes you could see the turbo sticking out of the box. So their shipping and handling definitely got improved. In the box, you got a bunch of things, which in this case, you have your V-band for your downpipe, and here's the key word, you got your T25 gasket here, as well as your oil drain and a coolant line gasket, installation instructions, a little decal, and their brochure. But let's get the main takeaway here, which is this turbo. So on my last video, if you guys watched, if you haven't, I highly recommend you check the last video out when I reviewed the Maxpeedingrods GT660. This is pretty much very similar to that turbo. However, what do you see different? The difference is on this turbo, you actually don't have a V-band clamp on the inlet turbine side. You have a T25 inlet. So for all you guys rocking the stock motor and they're looking for a nice small turbo, and this would be perfect for like the stock block Honda, stock block Acuras, stock block Miatas that are adaptable to a T25 flange. But let's go ahead and talk about this turbocharger real quick. Now, this is Maxpeedingrods' newest lineup of turbos, which all include a ball bearing turbo, dual ball bearing ceramic turbo. This specific turbo is advertised to support anywhere from 350 to 660 horsepower. Now, based on those broad details, I don't think this thing would be pushing out 660 horsepower in my personal opinion. I think with this one, with the T25 housing, we probably might be close to 300, 350 in my personal opinion based on the specs. But the reason this turbocharger is cool, and like I said in the other videos, I love the one-piece housing for the exhaust turbine. It's got a nice compact size to it. You can see even where the T25 flange sits, there's not a lot of height to it. It's low profile, and this is my favorite part, is this huge bell housing on the turbine side that includes the internal wastegate, which makes fabricating fitment a breeze. So again, let's start with the left side here on the turbine. It's a T25 inlet, which has an AR of 0.49. So compared to the other turbo we had, this is a much smaller AR housing, although the turbine wheel specs are exactly the same. So what that's going to do is going to increase your spool, and it's going to get you up to your max torque levels and max boost pressure a lot faster. So you're going to have a lot of low end to mid range power with this turbo, but it probably will die out on the top end somewhat. And the keyword is somewhat, because they did include this awesome compressor here that is a 0.70 AR. So this is gonna kind of flatten out, like lean out that torque curve and make it come on a little bit smoother compared to your smaller AR compressor sizes. So for example, my T25 turbo I had on my turbo Honda Civic was a 0.49 turbine AR, which is the same AR spool characteristics of this turbo, but my compressor was a 0.42 AR, which was tiny. I mean, this is 0.70. It's just about almost double of what my old compressor did. But having this bigger compressor is actually gonna delay that spool a little bit, and it's gonna carry more of that power towards the top end, and that's one thing my T25 turbo was lacking. So this, again, like I keep saying, is a nice turbocharger for a lot of you guys that are rocking T25 turbo manifolds, which You guys know there's a lot of you guys, again, Hondas, Acuras, Miatas, a lot of import cars. Their turbo manifolds are utilizing a T25 flange, so this is going to be a perfect match for that flange. And again, it's pretty compact. It's got a nice bell housing here that goes into a 3.55 inch downpipe, so you can get some nice pie cuts and mount that right there. Again, you got the V-band that's included for the downpipe right over here to make it nice, easy. It does have a oil restrictor already built in on it. Looks like these are supplied with a 1mm oil restrictor. It does have coolant lines as well with the ball bearing turbos. Obviously there's less oil going through it to cool it, so water cooling is highly suggested. It does have, again, this internally wastegated gate, which I'm assuming is anywhere from 8 to 14 psi, and you can always adjust the preload here just to help you out, dial in that spool characteristics. Now the dual ball bearing turbo, what it's going to do is it's going to spool faster. It's going to require less oil, which is going to make your cartridge more efficient. It's going to drain more efficient, less chances of oil seeping through to the turbine and leaking because there's just less oil being used. So again, with the ball bearing, it's going to be faster spool up, quicker acceleration, and faster response off and on throttle. The compressor also includes the Maxpeedingrods yellow forged aluminum wheel that is pretty much lightweight. It's going to spool up faster. It's going to create less drag, and again, a lighter wheel is going to rotate faster. Their compressor has an anti-surge compressor, so it limits choke and compressor surge itself, which is always a positive thing. You do have a boost reference right here that you can tap in. That should probably be included somewhere here, and you can use that as a reference point for the wastegate. I'm a big fan of these style turbos just because of these turbine housings. They are efficient and they work. You can also see from the turbo that these are balanced. You can see by the nut right over there that they shaved quite a bit of the nut out to get a nice balance on the turbine and the shaft. You can also see it on the compressor side shaft. It's shaved over there. So all in all, dual ball bearing ceramic turbocharger, great AR sizes for probably, I'd say, an easy 200 to 300 horsepower. Probably the only drawback that I see from this being like a perfect turbo for our 8th gen Civics is still this 0.49 exhaust housing AR. Something like a 0.60 probably would be a little bit more ideal. Like the last turbo was a 0.70, which is really delaying the boost onset and focusing on the top end. The 0.49 is perfectly fine. You will have a great running car as long as your tune is good, but it does, in my opinion, create too much torque for the stock rods on the Turbo Civic. But again, if you have a built motor, or if you're running E85, or if you're just like changing out the rods, you can definitely run, you know, your 15 pounds on here and easily get your, you know, 300 whatever horsepower, and you get a nice curve of power here from low end to mid range. I'm going to show you guys a graph right now with these specs, with the 0.49 turbine and the 0.7 compressor versus my old eBay T25 turbo from a Musa that had a 0.49, which is the same AR but a much smaller compressor of a 0.42, and you can see how the curves are going to change. The eBay 0.42 compressor really peaks fast, spikes torque tremendously, which is why our rods break, and then it tapers off at the top. And the reason it tapers off is because of this 0.49 AR turbine housing. It kind of has a choke point towards the top end, and it can't flow as efficiently. That's why power and boost decrease towards the top end. The benefit of having this 0.7 compressor housing actually is Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, it spools a little slower because it has a more area of volume here. So it's going to push that air in. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's not going to give you that rapid spike. It's just going to give you a little bit more gradual spike and how that power is delivered. But it is able to carry it a little bit higher in the RPM band. And that's one thing my T25 eBay Turbo was missing, kind of was dying out towards the top. So if you want to maintain a good overall street driving power band with street characteristics that are pretty much instant spool and instant power for the city driving, and if you're not always redlining your car out like on the highway for drag racing, this is a great package. And that's why I wanted to kind of open this up and review it to you guys and show you guys this turbo, because again, T25 band fits most of the Honda 8th Gen Civic manifolds. The bell housing, one piece, works like a charm, easy install. The footprint of this, very small. I'm pretty sure this can fit into our engine bay without a problem. And it's a great package for you guys, so I thought I'd show it out. Now, I'd love to obviously test fit this on the car here. Again, I sold my old turbo kit, so I don't have any manifolds on hand, but I am gonna try to see if I can possibly find somebody that's willing to send me some manifolds out for testing, or if you guys have any old manifolds that you have that you're not using, I'd be happy to test fit them with this turbo in our engine bays and see how everything fits. I do have a spare motor on my left side here that we can mock these things up on and see how clearances are. That way everybody on the 8th Gen community is a little bit more educated on this setup. And I think if you're not going for big numbers, if you're not going for 300 to 400 or 500 horsepower, I think this is a great alternative to most of the other cheaper turbos out there. These also do have high-speed oil seals, so if you're worried about your turbo leaking into the turbine or the compressor, you kind of don't have to worry about that, because they're much more improved and prevent leaking and smoking. As you guys know, my old turbo used to smoke here and there, so anything that prevents smoking and making you look like a fool driving a broken car is a plus in my opinion. So thank you again, Maxpeedingrods, for sending me this turbo, for being able to see what it is made out of. And I'm impressed with the Maxpeedingrods stuff right now. The new lineup is doing pretty well. Again, ideal turbo setup for your small engines if you're looking for anywhere from 200 to 300 horsepower. Check the link in the description below, guys. Get yourself one, and yeah, that's that. See you guys on the next video, where I'll probably compare this turbo, the GT1430 3566 versus the GT660. We'll see. We'll do a comparison of both of them, so you guys can really dial in and see what the real differences are and which one would be better for your turbo application. See you guys on the next video.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.